interesting, Gene, is from the very first time that you've ever spoken about the events of that night, your story has never changed. You know, I think a lot of people in your position would have done what you could, spoke what you could, and then realized and sat back and said, this is insurmountable. I can't keep talking about this because nothing's being done. Why did you decide for so many years to develop a platform, to talk to people, to educate people, to tell people these stories? Why did you feel that that was important?
Because when you don't tell the truth like Puffy did, he didn't tell the truth. That somewhat hurts the authenticity of what we went through. And people can't learn from a lie. You understand? So I said to myself, until he tells the truth of what happened, what was told to him prior to going to the party, I'm going to stay on his neck. Because he's wrong. Anybody else who has to go through something like that or may go through something like that, and they don't listen to their bodyguard, don't listen to the person who's doing their security and everything like that, it may just happen like that again. So I took it upon myself to take my hammer and chop at the Empire State Building. And if I got to just get a little bit at a time and one person know the truth, two people know the truth, we're going to be all right.
And Phil, what was your experience as it relates to getting information from Puffy or anyone in that regard? Did you end up interviewing him or not? What was your stance there?
Yeah, I actually had a lot of conversations with his attorneys saying, you know, this is the reason I want to talk to him, and I might have some even information that I need to provide to Puffy to give him a little bit of more of a background of what really transpired that evening. And I got some pushback at first, and then finally we were able to set it up. And I went and talked to Puff, and he was very nice, very cordial. Didn't get much information out of him, I'll be honest with you. I could understand where he was coming from, but I didn't necessarily agree, just because from my research and the relationship that he had with Biggie, you know, one of his best friends and all that sort of stuff, he wasn't very forthcoming with information. And I think the reason why is at that time, you know, Puff was a mogul, but he was becoming even a bigger mogul. He had just in all the different entertainment avenues that he was involved in, as well as the clothing line and everything like that. I think he realized that no matter what he said, he wasn't going to be able to bring Biggie back. And maybe he just felt that maybe the more he talked, or if he actually told the truth or what really happened and all that sort of stuff, that all that would do is put a target on his back. Because I know after the shooting occurred, he kind of had to, you know, hide out or hole up for a while because, you know, he was in fear that, you know, maybe people were going to be coming after him, that his life would be in danger. And very much so, I can understand that, because he was the intended target, is the bottom line. And when I actually told him that, that definitely got his attention.
But Phil, people don't look at this, that Puff is responsible for the safety of his artists. And if he tells the truth that, you know, he was told that it was going to be a hit, he was told that some guys were going to kill them, and he didn't do due diligence to get enough security for his artists, then that makes him liable.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. I 100% agree with you, Gene. Absolutely.
And that, like I told people 1,000 times, if I wouldn't have never took that DEA class, you know what I'm saying, that surveillance, and it was interrogation and surveillance class, and they taught us, you know, if you want to know if somebody's following you, run 3 lights, take 3 right. You know what I'm saying? Either or. You know what I'm saying? And I told our driver to run the next 3 lights.
Well, Gene, you told me that. I mean, I trust me. I documented that. You told me that, and that was one of the downfalls. Was you know, you guys ran that first light, And then I'm trying to think of who was driving Biggie's car. Was it
G Money. G.
Okay,
G.
yeah, it was great. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he didn't have any background in executive protection or security, so he sat at the light, and that created a sitting target, a stationary target for the shooter.
And
so
like what I was telling people, and they always say this wrong in every movie. They don't understand the car was parked at the corner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The car was parked at the corner. It was no drive-by. What he did was when Biglam stopped at the light, you know, he etched up from the parking space he had right there at the corner, took his shot, and then Kenny, our driver, when he heard the first shot, because Tone said somebody pointed a gun at Biglam. I went to open my door, as I told you, and then we heard the first shot. Bow! Then Kenny just guns the car. Then next thing you know, we hear bat, 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 bat. Then he turns the corner and he's gone. We get back in front of the car. Everybody is gone. You know what I'm saying? Big is the only one in the car. We wait till they come back. And Tone said, Gene, come on, Gene. I hopped in our car that Kenny was driving, and we go after the guy. So my whole thing about it is that you're right. He didn't have any protection. He didn't have any. G didn't have any knowledge of security, and that was whoever was responsible for Big security, which was Paul Alford and that Inglewood cop. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah. Let me add something that I think is important too, because there's some people out there that apparently are trying to push a different narrative. I'm looking at a copy of my interview with Eugene that was 17 years ago. Okay. Everything that you just described right now that took place, detail by detail, is exactly what you told me 17 years ago. And why there are people out there that say that whatever, you changed your story or this and that. I'm sick of hearing that from other people. You have been 100% honest from the beginning. You've always told the truth. Your story has never wavered. Everybody else that I talked to back then corroborated everything that you told me. And I don't understand why I do understand why these people are trying to push a false narrative, because they're just trying to stand behind their false story. But I don't understand why people would even spend 2 seconds listening or even acknowledging these false narratives why they try to say, oh, Big Gene isn't believable because he changed his story. I'm here to tell everybody you are believable, and I wish these other people that dispute that would just shut up and go away, because that's getting tired and old.
They're not going to do
Seriously.
that.
No, they're not.
That's why they call them trolls.